Our top story now, in the landfall process for Cyclone Biparjoy is finally underway, powering winds at 100 kilometers per hour, bringing heavy rain to the Gujarat coast. The entire process is expected to take several hours and can last up to midnight. Winds at 115 to 125 kilometers per hour, gusting to 140 kilometers per hour are expected, and heavy rainfall in Kachchh and Saurashtra region. Remember, there's a red alert over these regions. Over 1 lakh people have been shifted to shelters, and dozens of disaster response teams are on standby already. We're getting visuals, as you can see there, of uprooted trees having fallen due to the high-speed winds. Well, let's go across to our reporters, and let's go across to Priyanshi, who joins us from the IMD office. Also, Divya joining us here to explain the movement of the cyclone. Priyanshi, first to you, what is the latest that the IMD is saying? The process has begun and expected to last over the next couple of hours.
That's right, Gargi. I am coming to you from the control room of the Indian Meteorological Department here in New Delhi. And let me just show you what the cyclone currently looks like. There you can see this is where the cyclone currently is. This is Mandvi in Gujarat, and this is the port where the cyclone has hit. But remember, the cyclone center has not hit Gujarat yet. Just the walls of the cyclone have currently hit, and in an hour or so we can expect the center to also hit the port. Now, what we are being told by the Met Department is that the cyclone will go on from here, then the center will hit Gujarat, and that will happen till around 12. But after 12, after midnight, the cyclone will actually start decimating. So the peak of the cyclone will be at around midnight, when the cyclone will be in Gujarat. But it doesn't end there. Over the next 2 days as well, the cyclone will move forward, though at a very low speed and at a very less intensity, but it will go on to reach Rajasthan as well, where it will cause rain. So that is where it will finally end on the 17th of June, is what the Met Department is saying. But currently for today, it will go on till midnight. Then for 2 days, it will go towards Rajasthan in this direction, where it will cause heavy rainfall. But the maximum impact will be in Gujarat. You can see the port there, where the landfall has happened. But the maximum impact is what we'll see at around midnight. The IMD DG has also confirmed to us, has also told us that the impact of this cyclone is likely to be less compared to the impact of Cyclone Kachchh that we saw 3 years ago. And in that, close to 80 people had died. But the IMD DG is saying that in this, the wind speed is around 120 kilometers per hour, while in Cyclone Kachchh, it was around 180 kilometers per hour. So that's why it is likely to cause less damage. Let's just listen in to what the IMD DG told us earlier. So one more question. This year, as you've mentioned, that the wind speed has been around 120 for the cyclone Biparjoy, but we've seen that in the past, Cyclone Kachchh had a higher wind speed. So when we measure the impact of this cyclone, how does it compare in terms of intensity with the previous cyclones that this coast has seen and that our country has seen at large?
Cyclone Kachchh was an extremely severe cyclone storm with wind speed of 180 km per hour, and this is a very severe cyclone storm. And wind speed is 125, gusting up to 140 km per hour. That means there is a difference of wind of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And therefore, the damaging potential of this cyclone is less as compared to extremely severe cyclone storm Kachchh. But however, since it is in the phase of monsoon advance, therefore it has a lot of moisture. So it can give very good rainfall activity, and it is moving slow also. Therefore, you can expect localized flooding and inundations, especially in the districts of Saurashtra and Kachchh.
All right, let's go across now to Tanushri, who joins us for more, and she's been reporting, through the day on the cyclone as the wind speeds have started picking up. And what's the situation like now, Tanushri? 1 lakh people have been moved into shelters, and the administration now really, hunkering down, hoping for the best as the peak of the cyclone expected around midnight.
Absolutely, Gargi. In fact, right now the situation definitely is under control, and by under control I mean that the priority of the state government and the central government was to ensure that there is no loss of human life, there is zero casualty, and at least that streak is being maintained right now. What we are learning as far as the preparedness is concerned is that all the naval teams with 25 special units, which has the best tools, the best swimmers and specialized doctors team are deployed on the ground, and this will be deployed all through the night, because as Priyanshi was rightly mentioning that the landfall, the process of the landfall has of course commenced, but it is going to go till the midnight when the eye of the storm hits the coast, and that is going to be the most dangerous point, because also the diameter of the eye of the storm is huge. It's up to 50 kilometers, and that's quite a huge diameter. So keeping that in mind, the preparedness is going to be staying put. All the units, NDRF, SDRF units are going to be staying put on the ground till all through the night, and 12 a.m. is when the eye of the storm is going to hit the coast. Now, as far as people being evacuated from their houses, you rightly mentioned 1 lakh, nearly 1 lakh people have been evacuated from their homes, all who were living along the coastal lines across the state of Gujarat, and these are from the most 7 affected districts of Gujarat, and especially from the areas of Jakhau and Kachchh, which are the worst impacted. Now, initially it was the Jakhau port where the landfall was supposed to happen, but now it has happened somewhere between Mandvi and Karachi, 70 kilometers away from the Jakhau port. But if you see, I'll ask camera person Govind to pan around and show you that if you see the wind speed, it is increasing by each passing second, and with this kind of a wind speed, and if we go as per the IMD, the wind speed stands at about 115 to 125 kilometers per hour, and with this kind of a wind speed, what is likely to happen is that in all likelihood hundreds of trees are going to be uprooted. Many temporary shelters, many temporary arrangements can come down, and that's why the administration is constantly asking people to not venture out on the streets and to stay put at least till the next 2 days, because even after the eye of the storm hits the coast this midnight, even for the next 2 days the rainfall is going to continue, though it will start decimating of course, and the intensity is going to be much more less, but it is going to be the regions are going to witness rainfall for the next 2 days, and that's why people are being advised to stay indoor and not venture out. Right now the situation is under control. Of course, the people staying at shelter home, we are right now in fact in one of the shelter homes, and people are getting very anxious, Gargi, and rightfully so, because these are the people who have witnessed at least 3 cyclones in the past, and with each cyclone they had to go back to their house to see that their Kachchh house is completely collapsed, and they again have to rebuild it from the scratch. This time around they are saying that the government though it has made adequate arrangements inside the sheltered homes, the safe houses, but they also need help from the government once the cyclone passes, once it dies down, and once the extent of the damage is known. Now, as far as the state government and the central government, which has been keeping an eye on the cyclone, is concerned, their priority right now is to ensure that there is no loss of human lives, and that streak is being maintained. We really hope that the intensity and the impact of the cyclone is as less as possible. Back to you, Gargi.
All right, thanks so much for that, Tanushree, and do stay safe. Well, let's go across to Divya now to understand the trajectory that the cyclone is taking. And the good news, Divya, I think is that over the last couple of days, the wind speeds have been going down according to what the Met has been telling us, and now it seems even the trajectory has changed.
Absolutely. So when we talk about, that eye of the storm, which is about 50 kilometers, so it's very, very wide. It is quite big. It is bigger than usual, which is why that landfall process is taking longer than usual. Usually the landfall process takes about 2 to 3 hours. This time we are seeing it's taking close to almost 6 hours, and it'll get completed by midnight. So right now the wall of the storm has crossed the coastline. The eye of the storm will then eventually get onto land, and then finally the tail of the storm will pass the coast as well. From there, the system that is going to move, it's going to move towards the southern part of Rajasthan. It will continue to affect the northern part of Gujarat. There's a red alert warning, that rain red alert warning that's been issued for Saurashtra and Kachchh today. Tomorrow, the entire state of Gujarat will see heavy showers coming in, and tomorrow it will also be the western part of Rajasthan where a red alert warning has been issued, especially for areas like Jaisalmer, Barmer, Bikaner. All those areas are where the showers could get very heavy. Then from there, this weather system, the remnants of this weather system will impact the northwest plain. So basically this weather system will move from west to east. So it's going to cover the entire state of Saurashtra, Kachchh, Gujarat, move on to Rajasthan, move on to Delhi, move on to Uttar Pradesh. So the impacts of it will be felt, and therefore in Delhi we will see showers coming in from tomorrow till the weekend.
All right, thanks so much for that, Divya. And let's go across to Sohit now, who joins us from Mandvi. And Sohit, over to you. Tell us what it's like over there, and the trajectory's moved more towards where you are now.
Well, what we can say right now is that the impact of the cyclone is clearly visible. Now, with very strong winds, what we are also seeing is that there is heavy rainfall, and since it is with very strong winds, its impact is clearly visible over here. Now, we are present in Mandvi, and over here, if we talk about the entire city, there is no electricity right now. What we have been told by the authorities is that because of the strong winds, there are some wires which have been disconnected, and it doesn't seem that throughout the night there is going to be electricity over here. So this is how the situation is on ground, and if it is not only about the place where we are present, we see the wind is quite heavy over here, and at the time let me tell you that the heavy rainfall is also creating an impact, number one. Number two, when we also saw what is happening in Jamnagar, where we saw a tree falling and it impacted the animals that were present over there. Now that it is dark, it will be very hard for someone to go and do a rescue operation anywhere, so that is not going to happen at night. Number three, this will continue throughout the night. If the winds continue for the next 3-4 hours, there is going to be a huge impact, especially in the coastal areas. So yes, the impact could be felt over here when we are standing, and what we have been told is that currently the wind over here is around 80 km per hour, and it is expected to go even further, more than 100 and 120 kmph. So you can imagine what would be the impact when it reaches its maximum level, and that's why a lot of precautions are being taken. But yes, the challenges continue. As I said, there is tree falling somewhere, there is no electricity over here, and with heavy wind and at the same time heavy rainfall is going to create an impact on ground. The impact is clearly visible, but it may rise or things might get worse if this cyclone continues the way it is doing, and especially the coastal areas will be impacted the most. So this is what is happening right now. There's literally no electricity, and people will have to stay like that throughout the night because of the strong gusty winds that is flowing right now in these coastal areas. So the ground reality is that every minute what we can say is that the situation is changing. Sometimes it is just very, we see strong winds, and when there's a combination of strong winds and heavy rainfall, the impact is the maximum, and that's why people have been asked to stay at a safe place. Like even we are right now, we are reporting from a very safe place so that even we follow the rules and regulations that the government has set. So yes, by following that, what we can say is the cyclones, what would be the impact when it actually hits the coast is clearly visible, or at least you can feel at ground zero where the coastal zone is there. And yes, that is exactly what we can see. I'll also try to show you on the streets. You could see the police vehicles that is present over there. So they are also ensuring that they travel throughout the city where there is an impact, so that if there is any requirement, they will inform the authorities on ground. So this administration work is also going on throughout the city, or all of the affected zones. So we saw, be it Dwarka, where we saw there is heavy rainfall. In Jamnagar we saw what the impact is. There are electricity poles that have been broken, or they have come on the roads in several places. So the NDRF is being used there as well. So a lot of things are happening over here on the ground because of the current situation, and its impact will continue at least for the next 3-4 hours. And the big challenge will be in front of these organizations tomorrow, when they'll have to go and ensure that, or their biggest challenge will be to bring all of these things back to normalcy.
All right, Sohail, thanks so much for that, and do stay safe. You and Rajendra, who's behind the camera, do stay safe as the storm is expected to pick up and peak around midnight. Another challenge for authorities in the middle of the night, and it's only in the morning we'll get to know the true devastation or damage caused by the cyclone. In other news now, the wrestling body chief Brijbhushan Sharan Singh will face sexual harassment and stalking charges, the Delhi police have said today, after they filed a 1,000-page report or charge sheet on its investigations into the allegations that triggered massive protests by wrestlers. 7 wrestlers, remember, have accused him of sexual assault and molestation. He will, however, not face the stringent charges under POCSO. This is after the Delhi police have sought the cancellation of the case filed by a wrestler who had earlier claimed she was a minor, though it really is up to the court.
Charged with sexual assault, The controversial wrestling chief and BJP MP Brijbhushan Sharan Singh has been booked under sexual offences by the Delhi police. After months of dramatic protests, at least 2 rounds of government meetings and a Supreme Court diktat, the Delhi police filed its charge sheet against Brijbhushan following over a month of investigation. In its 1,000-page long charge sheet, the Delhi police has slammed Brijbhushan Sharan Singh with charges of sexual harassment, stalking and outraging a woman's modesty, a non-bailable offence.
जो रसलर्स की कंप्लेंट पर केस रजिस्टर हुआ था उसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंप्लीट हुई है, तो उसके बाद हमने इसमें चार्जशीट है कंसर्न कोर्ट में फाइल कर दी है. इसमें सेक्शन 354, 354A और D इनके तहत हमने बृजभूषण है उनके खिलाफ और मिस्टर विनोद तोमर हैं उनके खिलाफ भी 109, 354A, 354 एंड 506 IPC में चार्जशीट दाखिल कर दी है.
Some relief, however, for accused Brijbhushan Singh, as the Delhi police sought cancellation of the POCSO FIR filed by a wrestler's father, alleging that Singh sexually assaulted his minor daughter.
पॉक्सको में हमने कैंसिलेशन के लिए फाइल किया है. ये हमने बेस किया है जो कंप्लेनेंट हैं उनकी स्टेटमेंट पर और जो एलिज्ड विक्टिम हैं उनकी स्टेटमेंट के ऊपर. तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट कैंसिलेशन रिपोर्ट हैज बीन फाइल्ड.
After a long battle fought by the wrestlers, the Delhi police has finally completed its investigation. It remains to be seen whether the charge sheet actually stands the test of law. The next hearing is on the 4th of July, and the big question is, will Brijbhushan Sharan Singh be arrested? In New Delhi with camera person Kanan Patra and Sachin Gupta, Vedant for NDTV.
News now from Manipur, and more trouble there as violence today broke out in the capital Imphal, where protesters even clashed with security forces despite the state government enforcing a curfew. There you can see security forces on the ground there. Some people were even reportedly injured in this face-off, and several houses were set on fire. In fact, it started with the houses being set on fire, and the violence erupted in the new Chekon area of Imphal, and the police had to fire tear gas shells to control the situation. Visuals showed firefighters trying to douse a burning house, and the rapid action force personnel are also seen firing tear gas at a large group of protesters on a narrow street. So more trouble there in Manipur. News now from Karnataka, where the Congress government led by Siddaramaiah has decided to scrap the law against religious conversion, meeting its poll promise of rolling back the controversial laws enacted by the previous BJP government. The government will also drop chapters on right-wing thinkers, Hejwar and Savarkar that were introduced by the BJP when it was in power. Here's a report.
Rollback time in Karnataka, reversing major decisions of the former BJP government. The new ruling Congress government has decided to scrap the controversial anti-conversion law.
See, the bill brought by BJP in 2022, that bill is going to be repealed now. And the bill what we are now bringing will be in total in tune with the provisions of the Constitution.
Lessons on RSS founder KB Hegdewar and Hindutva ideologue V.D. Savarkar have also been dropped from school textbooks. The chapters were added last year by the then BJP government.
The Hegdewar, this thing we have taken, taken out, and see what has happened is same kind of things are already there. You know, a few subjects they have just manipulated and say, okay, I'll put it this way. Whatever changes they had done last year and previous year, whatever was there, we have reintroduced. That's all. We have not done anything major about it.
जो एंटी कन्वर्शन बिल भारतीय जनता पार्टी लाया था, उसका अभी पाटिल जी जो लॉ मिनिस्टर है वापस लेने के बात कर रहे हैं. हम बहुत क्लियर से बोल सकते हैं ताकि वो बिल वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिल था. अगर वो लोग वो बिल को वापस लेना चाहते हैं तो हाउस और हाउस के बाहर भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसके प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे.
The cabinet has also decided to make it compulsory to read the preamble of the Constitution, along with the hymn in schools and colleges. The new law on agriculture markets that will also replace the one enacted when the BJP was in power. A slew of promises that catapulted Congress to power in Karnataka. The party has indicated more such promises a rollback in the pipeline, like the hijab ban and also a decision on the 4% of quota for the Muslim, which was scrapped. In Bengaluru with Kumar, Shrija for NDTV.
And a day after the arrest of Tamil Nadu Electricity Minister Senthil Balaji by the Enforcement Directorate, today a strongly worded statement by Chief Minister Stalin, who warned the centre against dictatorial actions and using central agencies to intimidate non-BJP parties, clarifying that it was not a threat but a warning. He said the DMK can retaliate and the repercussions will be serious.
இந்திய எதிர்ப்பு போராட்டங்கள் மிசா காலம்னு நாங்க பார்க்காத அடக்குமுறைகள் இல்ல, நாங்க பண்ணாத போராட்டங்கள் அல்ல. திமுக நடத்தின போராட்டங்கள் எப்படிப்பட்டதுன்னு வரலாற்றை புரட்டி பாருங்க. இல்லைன்னா டெல்லியில் இருக்கிற சீனியர்களை கேட்டு பாருங்க. சீண்டி பார்க்காதீங்க. திமுகவையோ திமுக காரணையோ சீண்டி பார்த்தா தாங்க மாட்டீங்க. எங்களுக்கும் எல்லா அரசியலும் தெரியும். இது மிரட்டல் அல்ல, எச்சரிக்கை. எனவே பொறுப்புள்ள ஒன்றிய அரசாங்கத்தை ஆளுற பொறுப்பில் இருக்கிற பாஜக அந்த பொறுப்பை உணர்ந்து செயல்படணும். எதேச்சதிகார நடவடிக்கைகளை இனியாவது நிறுத்திக்கணும்னு கேட்டுக்கிறேன்.
Now, dramatic visuals from Delhi today when a coaching centre caught fire and students were seen rappelling down the side of the building using wires to escape the fire. Visuals showed smoke billowing out of the top floor of the building, and the students, as you can see there, are sliding down with their bags on their backs. 4 of them received minor injuries, according to the police. And according to reports, the fire broke out in an electricity meter, and the students started to panic because of the smoke and then made their exit through the window. And finally, before we wrap up, some inspiring NEET success stories from Jammu and Kashmir. A young man who worked as a painter who would rush home after work to study managed to crack the tough medical exam and will fulfill his dream now of becoming a doctor. Also, twin sisters who both managed to qualify.
In Kashmir's Pulwama district, Umar Ahmed Ghanai is being celebrated as a hero for cracking NEET medical entrance exams. For the past 2 years, Umar has been toiling through the night to prepare for NEET, even as he spent his days working as a labourer to earn a living. On Tuesday, he was working in a neighbouring village as a painter when the NEET results were declared. With a score of 601, Umar is due to get a medical college seat.
हालात बहुत ख़राब थे. मैंने मजदूरी करता था दिन भर और शाम को मैं पढ़ता था. यही 2 साल रहा है और दिन में लगभग 600 रुपये मिलते हैं. बाकी लोगों से यही मैसेज है कि मेहनत करो, मेहनत कभी ज़ाया नहीं होती है.
In neighbouring Kulgam district, celebrations are underway in the family of Sayyid Sayyad and Imam. His twin daughters, Sayyid Tabia and Sayyid Bisma, have qualified. They have scored 625 and 570 respectively in the NEET entrance exams.
बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हुई जब पता चला कि मैंने बहुत अच्छा स्कोर हासिल किया, और उससे कहीं ज़्यादा खुशी तब हुई जब पता चला कि मेरी बहन की भी इंशाल्लाह सिलेक्शन होने वाली है. तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बहुत अच्छा फील हो रहा है. हम दोनों बहनों ने अच्छे नंबरात के साथ नीट क्वालिफाई किया है और एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा कॉलेज. जब हमें उस वक्त पता चला कि नीट का रिज़ल्ट आने वाला है तो हम पहले बहुत ज़्यादा डर गए थे, लेकिन जैसे ही रिज़ल्ट आउट हुआ और हम दोनों बहनों ने देखा कि हम दोनों ने क्वालिफाई किया है तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हुए. हमारे पेरेंट्स बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हैं.
NEET results have brought joy to many families, but it is the incredible success of Umar Ahmed Ghanai which is being celebrated across Kashmir and has become an inspiration. Umar was working as a labourer to earn a living, but never gave up on his dream to become a doctor. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, for NDTV.